again my apologies for turning off my video. There's a power cut at my end, so I'll have to stay this way. So we'll start right into the session. Quoting Albert Einstein, you can't solve a problem on the same level that it was created. So, quoting
I
Albert Einstein, you can't solve a problem on the same level that it was created. You have to rise above it to the next level. Our innovative startup storytellers have indeed rose above and beyond to find some remarkable solutions, and they are here with us to share the same stories. And with that, I would like to invite our first speaker, Dr. Nanda Gopal, to share his innovative startup story. He has an exceptional track record of nurturing ventures from startup to leadership stage, as well as in bringing transformational change in stagnant businesses. He so far founded, nurtured, and led 3 insurance companies in India and has deep expertise in life, general, and health insurance domains. His latest engagement is with Insurance Inbox, a B2B and B2C state of the art digital health insurance platform designed to meet the needs of struggling enterprises and discerning customers across retail and institutional segments. So, welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Mishma. You started with the introduction of quoting Albert Einstein. I think the insurance industry definitely needs a little bit of brainy solutions to solve the fundamental issue why people don't really think of insurance as the most important need for them to in their entire financial security journey. Having worked in the insurance industry for many years, I have seen that insurance always, however useful it is for personal security, business security, it is still not on the top of the mind when the customers think of, several things where they have to really allocate their money. They'll always think of insurance perhaps as a second thing, a third thing, and that's something that is a fundamental problem with insurance. And why it is like that? Is it something, really a problem with the product itself? Is it a problem with the value proposition? Or is it a problem with the construct and the service delivery? I believe that insurance is unnecessarily made into some sort of a technical jargon, in some sort of a complex plan. People fail to understand, even though they are financially very literate. But if you translate insurance in the very common layman terms, it's actually money on the table in your worst financial crisis. Whether you're an individual or you're a business owner or you're a large corporate, what insurance actually means is that it is a wrapped up gift package of money that comes to you in your worst financial crisis. And who doesn't want that? Because all of us are very clearly aware of the fact that, life is not going to be very predictable. We will always have situations, adversaries will strike us in the most unexpected times. And as we have seen, in the world right now, the small business owners, big business owners, professionals, everybody, almost everybody have suffered an unthinkable losses, business losses, loss of income, loss of health, and loss of lives. And nobody actually predicted that. And if that world is going to become more and more unpredictable, then there is a strong case for insurance, and there is a strong case for people really putting that on the top of their entire priority list. But unfortunately, still it doesn't happen. You require, a huge army of salespeople to really convince the people to sell insurance, and you need a whole lot of other people, to really understand what their needs are, and to understand that why, some of the information what customer is providing is insurable or not insurable. If it is insurable, with what conditions, at what premium. So this is the fundamental problem which I have really studied for very long years. I have studied this problem in the life insurance industry, in the general insurance industry, and in the current technological enterprise which I'm heading now. So then we have come to the conclusion that it is not the value proposition of insurance which is which is the main problem. It is the construct, the way it is being constructed into a long policy document with almost impossible language for a common person to understand. And then, of course, it is always built with certain kind of terms and conditions which people find it very onerous. And later, of course, if insurance is really something that money should be made available to a person in the worst case scenario, then it should have really focused its entire attention of the industry should be on claim settlement in a instant. But that's not the case. The whole of the insurance industry actually focuses its attention on how to simplify things when they collect the premium, when they collect the money from the customer. But when they have to make the payment to the customer, they'll always suspect that something is wrong. And why? That means there's a trust deficit. Maybe I think the customer sometimes does not know how to give the right kind of information, or maybe the customer conceals something, or he has some sort of an adverse selection, some sort of a problem which the underwriters have overlooked at the time of pricing the policy. And now, when it comes to a claims, and suddenly you start thinking that no, 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 this is not the product which we sold. This is not the price which when we collected the premium. So it's important. I mean, now that we have to reduce the from the claim payment, and so a whole lot of discussion happens at the claim settlement. So this actually caused further pain point in the minds of the people, and the people started distrusting in the entire community of professionals. I'm saying that, I mean, from my Indian experience, though I have got some international experience, I really do not know much about the overseas markets. But the fact is, the most suspected lot in the entire community of professionals, maybe after lawyers, the insurance company guys will come into the play. People just run away from them and then don't really trust them. That, that's why the customer automatically, when it comes to the claim payment, what he does is, if he's really incurred a loss of $100,000, he will actually claim $150,000, because he knows anyway that, I mean, the genuine loss of $100,000 is not going to be paid. There'll be always some kind of a discount. So he'll say, okay, fine. If I pad it up by about 30%, 50%, then, even if they discount it by 25%, I'll still be better off. So that is the kind of soft thought that happens. So this is the fundamental problem. Then what is the solution for this? The solution can actually come at three levels. One is at the construct of the product. That is one thing. Can we make that product absolutely brilliantly simple and clean, that nobody can actually say that this is something that, I have not understood? It can be as simple and clean as black and white kind of thing. There are no shades of gray. That is the first problem. And the second problem is, okay, once you do that, because the previous speakers have mentioned that, insurance industry in a way reflects the kind of risks that all of us suffer in our lifestyles, not just at a personal level, but at a business levels. And these risks are very diversified and very varied. How do you really price those risks? So is it possible for you to really imagine as a framework where you can actually collect all those data points automatically, not just the kind of information the customer provides at the time of applying for an insurance plan or the time of applying for a claim, but is it possible for you to automatically get a lot of data points, and those data points in real time can actually make you understand that whether the person is insurable or not insurable, and if is insurable, what kind of claim is payable if there is going to be a case for the claim. And that is the second part, for which, of course, the third most important thing is you need two important changes to happen. One important change is, of course, at the regulatory side, where the regulations have to permit you to have an absolutely simple and clean thing. The second thing is, at the business side, are we ready with certain kind of data-driven architecture, IP architecture, where in real time, continuous basis, I will be knowing exactly what this gentleman's risk profile is, and is it possible for me to insure or not? This, of course, when we started working on that, suddenly we realized the regulations is not that much a constraint, because for us, always, I mean, we think that, regulations are a major problem, but actually they are not. Everywhere in the world, the regulations will only focus attention on customer protection. And if what I'm trying to do is going to be favorable for the customer, why should regulations object to that? So we have started having a dialogue with the insurance regulators, and they said, why you do that? You develop a very simple plan, you price it, and you make the whole process very clean. Then we thought, okay, because the whole thing is so difficult, I mean, to do that, let us focus our attention on one simple segment and then see how do we do that. So the segment what we have chosen is the small and medium enterprises. And for this small and medium enterprises in this country, they virtually contribute maybe, I mean, four-fifths of the economy directly and indirectly, and millions of people are employed directly and indirectly in this formal and informal economy, and they are the most underinsured people. And in this current pandemic, I mean, perhaps they suffered the worst kind of problems in both at a business owner level and at the worker level. The workers are all casual workers and guest workers, and they lost their jobs. And when they suddenly realized it that there is no insurance cover whatsoever for the business losses, for the business interruptions and loss of profit, and for the additional problems, then that suddenly it became that it is possible for us to design a plan, one single account. You just sign it up, and then you start really getting that information into our data pipeline. And through the pipeline, the most important thing first, the health part of it, will be able to produce a very simple cover. You just sign up, give your mobile number, and not just for your customers, not just for your staff, but even for the families of the staff members will be able to do that. And then when we came with this kind of a change, I mean, a lot of people expected that our claims ratios will go up and people will not be able to afford, I mean, that kind of insurance. But we suddenly saw that we are more profitable than the rest of the insurance companies. We are able to reduce the price by 30 to 40%, made it brilliantly simple. Just one single thing. If you are having a health problem, then whether it is consulting for a doctor or it is a hospitalization thing, this is an amount you just have to pay it. And then we ran that thing for quite some time, and there's a pilot in city of Hyderabad, and then the experience has been very good. Now I think we would like to expand into various other business risks, whether it is job losses or whether it is business profit loss or a property or casualty kind of a thing we'll be able to do. But how is this possible? At the back end, we have worked out on an integrated technology platform which captures the data and made a lot of manual processes the insurance companies are actually doing automated. The moment when I'm actually doing an automated process and saving some sort of a labor cost for the insurance companies, and their tolerance for a slightly higher claims ratio is actually improved. So that's what we negotiated at the back end. We said, okay, fine, I'm doing all this kind of work of your auto underwriting, automated instant claim settlement kind of a thing. So why don't you actually be slightly more liberal, because they are only focused on their combined loss ratios, which is nothing but an aggregate of both the claims and operating expenses. Because of this kind of a technology, if you are able to reduce your operating expenses, even if your claims ratio is slightly higher, they're able to do that. So this, in an essence, I mean, the most important platform which we had developed it, and we ran the pilot in Hyderabad, and we are now going to go all over the country. And interestingly, when we started talking to the overseas clients, especially in the US market, which is the most competitive thing, and in the Middle East, we received a very positive response. And that is something that I would like to talk about as my startup story. I think over a period of time, what will happen is the insurance will change its colors. It will no longer remain as some unique product, and it's some sort of a very specialist thing. It will get embedded into the product offering of, like previous speakers have mentioned, if you are buying a white good, a television, or taking a trip, I mean a travel ticket, and everything will get embedded with some layer of insurance, and that's the very efficient way of doing it. And the moment, I mean, you do that, then suddenly you see that the insurance is no longer some unpalatable, very standalone kind of a product. It gets embedded into each and every activity. If that is the case, then you need to really get so much of your data in real time and an integrated manner. And the third important thing is it should be connected to the ecosystem. So this is a short discussion which I won't talk about this thing, but I'll be happy to really participate and have some sort of additional questions if you have, how we are doing it and what we are actually, which problem we are solving. But I'll leave it to you to if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, sir. Right now, we do not have any questions, but I'm sure the audience will connect with you in the chat and we can take up the questions there. So, thank you so much
Sure.
for
Thank
joining
you.
and wishing you all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you.
So, with that, I would like to invite our next innovative startup storyteller, Mr. A. Vaidyanathan. He's a successful technocrat, serial entrepreneur with multiple patents in his name in US, Australia, and India. He has successfully conceived, created, and commercialized innovative products. His new venture, Personal Air Quality Systems Private Limited, offers innovative IoT solutions in the environment domain with a sharper focus on hyperlocal air quality solutions, leveraging a combination of technology such as new generation sensors, IoT, ML for real-time data processing, context-aware solutions, etc. PAQS has commercialized its solutions in the domain of air quality, and it is in the process of launching newer products. So over to you, Mr. Vaidyanathan.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Mishma. Thank you, co-panelists, and thank you all the attendees for giving me this opportunity. When we talk about technology platform, we are in a very, very interesting day, IoT session. I guess when you suddenly try to talk about air, maybe it would have been very unromantic to talk about air in the context of technology. But some news items, some things have changed our perspectives. So just to make the story, just to make the experience a little more interactive, I seek your permission to make some slides and presentations and then continue with the whole thing. This year, 2020 has been disruptive for all of us. We don't need the reason, no prizes for guessing. But I guess when you talk about COVID, something that has started capturing attention of everybody is the news item stating that the virus can be airborne in its transmission. Initially, we were all told that clean your hands, clean the surfaces and all that. Progressively, the news started coming about it getting transmitted through multiple ways, and airborne transmission was one such. That really sets the context for our discussion and the presentation. So, what I'm really going to present is about PACS. The name of the company is Personal Air Quality System, the solution centered around air quality and its impact. Like when I try to say air quality, our logo really conveys our vision in its entirety. It's individual at the center, it's his, her health. Green represents the micro brackets, micro environment that a person is exposed to. Blue is the ambient air exposure. So our journey and solution is about cleaner solutions, talking about outdoor and indoor, more specifically about the illnesses caused by air. So when you talk about air quality, it's a humongous oxymoron. We all know air. We can't live without that. But then we keep reading news items about air pollution is bad for health. WHO suddenly says 400 million are impacted by air quality. Sorry, 5 million, 7.5 million deaths due to air quality, 400 million impacted by asthma. And McKinsey does that cost of air quality is over $300 billion per year. So this, when you try to say a huge thing called air, we know to talk about a mask or some sensors. How do you try to leverage technologies? How do you try to work on solutions that can make meaningful difference to an individual? So our journey was about that. We have leveraged a combination of technologies, new generation sensors, real-time data with IoT, LI location intelligence, and of course machine learning to provide hyperlocal data, specific advisories, and we had to get the solution to the market. Our solutions are for various domains such as smart spaces, that is smart cities, smart home, and of course individually smart inhalers. So since talking about IoT, as you can see from the right side, we are trying to design the sensors and devices that map the personal exposure profile or the environment wherever it is deployed. These are designed by us. We have multiple data backhauls depending on the type of device, whether it could be personal device through BLE or an indoor environment for an office space through Modbus or an outdoor environment through a Wi-Fi or GSM. And of course, once we get the data to cloud, we curate, process the data to drive various solutions. Personal list for, say, asthma and respiratory illness, indoor environment, smart cities, and so on. Yep. And one of the most important things is we all know that India is one of the most polluted environments. You try to list the top 50 cities, you'll see at least 20 of them are India. And unfortunately, the sensors to measure the air quality for government to take action are very costly. So these new generation sensors combined with the technologies, in the previous session we were hearing about edge intelligence. The whole trick is getting the device and become intelligent, or the edge intelligence, or handle it with the cloud. Try to ensure that the new generation sensors provide intelligent data. So we have created these sensors. They are deployed across 15 cities in the country, in India, the leading cities. And most importantly, we have our deployments, then we have the public data, governmental data, as well as the satellite data. We take ingest all the data in our platform and curate, process, and provide hyperlocal data. So with our app, you can literally get hyperlocal, literally block the air quality varies. You'll be able to get the quality of data. And of course, once you have technology leverage, at an individual level, as through a mobile app you get it. At an institutional level, we talk about hotspot analysis, localized analytics, and of course the spatial temporal planning, so that you are able to visualize based on the winds and trends how's the pollution drifting, where vulnerabilities. And of course, through these analytics, we get some very, very useful insights. Like, for example, in one of the cities which was treating COVID patients, we had put a sensor. We could get directional advisories, because when you talk about the indoor environment in a hospital, when do you ingest fresh air, when do you flush it out, depending on the outdoor air, what should be the insights? We could do it through the analytics. Yeah, we have a decent profile of customers. And more importantly, on the left side, you see we are working with some fantastic institutions to further the knowledge of accurate data, insights, and analytics to provide solutions to the market. We have, I mean, it more on that. We have been able to get several patents, which is important for the market to accept our solution and credibility. And we've been fortunate to get several awards. Looking ahead, I did start the presentation with COVID related matter. So, with all the insights that we talk about air quality, environment, personal advisory, what is it we like to say? We believe there are several opportunities for smart spaces, smart cities, and of course, post COVID, personal hygiene, respiratory care solutions become very, very relevant. So, we have created a device for indoor air quality sensors. The all of us would have known about indoor air quality monitors and sensors, but there's something more we try to bring it to the table, because we have the hyperlocal data from outdoor environment. We know the weather patterns, wind patterns, and vulnerabilities. We try to give them with the customary advisories. So as you said here, the concurrent, our USP is the concurrent data that we bring. And of course, trying to talk, one of the examples is mother and childcare solutions, because the Harvard study and contemporary studies talk about the cognitive capabilities of children getting impacted due to air quality, pollution, and the exposure. We do believe that should be a focus area to ensure healthy child upbringing. So we have offered this solution. And this is a very uh, uh, personalized solution for the asthma. Over 400 million are impacted. Now, while we all know asthma is due to respiratory illness, okay, there could be some bit due to food allergy or fluids, but that is sub 10%. So more than about 90% is due to air and pollution. But when you go to a doctor, he says it's due to pollution exposure. But pollution what? Like, just the way we used to say, without a metrics, pollution what? So that is where we have brought in the technology, sensing multiple parameters, vulnerabilities, pollen through to specific gas pollutants through to particulate matter. So through the mobile app, the person will get advisories for medication compliance, inhaler management, hostile environment alerts, and of course, the analytics. Of course, when you talk about a solution, there will be for each of the solutions, that is outdoor, indoor, or smart inhaler, there will be some competition, some global companies. We respect them all, our competitors, because it's through competition the end customer and the market gets good solutions, increase quality. This is about the indoor sensors. Similarly, about inhalers, we do believe that competition is a very, very healthy thing with which each of the companies stay ahead of the competitors and present the best to the end customer. Yeah, as a company startup, I've been a professional. I understand it's people who make it. So we are a people-driven company, co-ownership model. Every employee is a owner in the company. We are a research-focused company. Marketing wise, we do directly B2B, B2C also, B2B2C, multiple solutions. A minute more about our team. Any journey, any solution won't be possible without a top class team. So the core team that built packs, I've been privileged to work with them all. Is outstanding set of professionals from Carnegie Mellon, Uppsala, Sweden, and with a decade in MIT, and multiple set of professionals who brought in the domain knowledge, helped us to create the architecture and solutions, and as and of course the young engineers who are working with us are the people who are delivering the solution to the market. I've been very fortunate to work with the full team, and I've been an entrepreneur. This is my third venture trying to scale up and provide solutions of relevance. So that's it about me as a company. If I say, in terms of just if I may close in with this remark, we are in this interesting and challenging times in terms of COVID. While we talk about mask and related things, contemporary researchers are talking about the relevance of air quality. In the sense, when you say we had an opportunity to present a paper at World Meteorological Organization study. So what I would urge is do try mask is an incredibly important thing to ensure that uh, the droplets do not get carried forward, not you inhale. But then second important thing is ensure the environment you live in at home or office is dust free, if I may use particulate matter free, because when you talk about a virus or a particle, they need a carrier. They do not go in a vacuum. They need a carrier. There'll be a water or air. So in this case, if you have certain carriers, that is the pollutants as carriers, they tend to carry the virus. So we will be well advised to try and ensure hygiene environment by way of care for ourselves and fellow citizens, not to miss the family and friends. I wish you all healthy end of the year. Let's all hope 2020 goes past us. Merry Christmas. Wonderful New Year. Happy interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vaidyanathan, and that's some great product. And wishing you all the success, and hope it goes to many other countries as well. And with that, also thank you for giving us the last tip and food for thought. So thank you, Mr. Vaidyanathan, for
Yeah,
joining us.
just a small input. We've been able to do some installations in Singapore, and I have one at Bay Area in US, but we need to scale up big time. Wish your support, all of you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, definitely. I think it is a product which is required, and yeah, I hope you reach greater heights with that. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next speaker or storyteller is going to be Mr. Luo Gray. He's a data scientist and the managing director of EC Internet, an ICASA licensed internet service provider focused on bridging the digital divide. Mr. Luo is currently the board chairman of the IoT Forum, and he's also the current president of the Youth ICT Council. So thank you for joining us. Over to you, Mr. Luo, to share your innovative startup story.
Internet connectivity is no longer a luxury. It has become and should in fact be a basic human right. Good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the leadership of the Global Technology Summit for providing us this opportunity to possibly share our experiences and as startup entrepreneurs in the tech space. My name is Luvo Gray. My short presentation today will touch on the overview of my startup. I'll also touch on the issues of connectivity in Africa and South Africa in particular, Internet of Things in Africa, the IoT opportunities, and I will conclude by showing you some of our solutions that we'll be deploying in 2021 with our partners. So I basically run a technology company called EC Internet, which is a licensed Tier 3 wireless internet service provider that holds both the electronic communication service license and the electronic communication network service license. We are currently operating in the unlicensed spectrum band in the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5.8 gigahertz frequencies. We are currently servicing the townships in the Eastern Cape, which is a rural town in South Africa, with a plan to deploy about 1,000 outdoor Wi-Fi hotspots in townships and rural areas across southern South Africa by the end of 2021. Our current wireless network infrastructure has the capacity to provide connectivity to more than 300 small to medium enterprises, businesses, and also household, and also IoT devices. Our 5-year plan is to connect 100,000 township, rural households, and SMMEs, and also deploy Wi-Fi hotspots in all townships and rural areas in South Africa. In 2021, we will begin our Rural and Township Connected Home project, where township and rural communities will have an opportunity to also experience the Internet of Things. In doing this, we will be also playing our part in bridging the digital divide. I believe in as much as it is important for us to engage in this international discourse, which is termed the Fourth Industrial Revolution. As a continent, it won't have any meaningful impact if the poor masses in the townships and the rural areas aren't connected to the internet. In order for Africa to take full advantage of the opportunities presented by the 4IR, townships and rural folks need to be connected to reliable and affordable internet. In order for Africa to benefit from the opportunities that come with the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and these driverless cars that we are talking about, we need to increase the internet penetration rate so that even the marginalized, which are in the townships and rural areas, can benefit. When we started our company, we wanted to be a fully fledged Internet of Things company. However, when we got to the ground, we realized that things are a bit different than what we had written in our business plan. We then started and then realized that let's go into the townships and actually deploy wireless infrastructure so that the people that, which are in the majority in the rural areas, quite poor, can be able to access cheap and affordable internet and also reliable internet, so that once we connect them, we can be able to possibly, upsell them other services which can assist them, and also solve some of the social and economic problems in the town. So, just to basically give you an overview of the connectivity statistics in Africa and the opportunities that come with that. Africa accounts for about 15% of the world's population. Only 6% of the world's internet subscribers are from Africa, right? So Africans who have access to broadband connections are estimated to be at a percentage of about 1% or lower, which is basically internet at home. 13.5 individuals in our continent have internet access through mostly mobile, and less than 2% have a fixed connection at home. And in as much as this symbolizes a problem to most people, to me, as an entrepreneur, it provides me with a huge opportunity, not only to provide connectivity, but to also upsell Internet of Things products. So expanding network connectivity across sub-Saharan Africa will open up digital services that many of us who are more privileged now take for granted. For example, mobile banking, WhatsApp chatting and video, e-health, e-education are key services, only possible with a reliable internet connectivity. For a geographically disparate population like in Africa, it will mean greater access to its essential services, including e-agri services. There are hugely populous cities in sub-Saharan Africa. For example, Lagos in Nigeria is one of the fastest growing cities in the world, but even in the center of Victoria Island, the internet connection can be patchy and face frequent outages due to many of the problems which are faced due to the power problems that Nigeria has, which some of us know about. For those populations across the internet, to access to the internet in particular means being able to save, invest, and borrow money getting an education, having access to basic healthcare, and being able to trade with bigger markets. These are all fundamental to socio-economic advancement. That has been a powerful force which has fueled the economic growth over the past century across Europe, North America, and Asia. And I think it is about time that Africa takes a stand in this. According to the World Bank, in the digital dividends, which is the World Development Bank report of 2016, it states that each 10% each 10% increase in the internet penetration rate in developed and developing countries will cause a rise of about 1.38% and 1.21% in gross domestic product. Broadband infrastructure will not only keep people connected to the World Wide Web, it has a potential and a proven track record of improving people's lives. The next big thing, ladies and gentlemen, is in the African continent. Due to the potential it has caused due to years of underdevelopment. If you are in this room and you have resources to invest, I would suggest that to invest in internet infrastructure in Africa. Your returns will make you happy and you'll definitely smile. To provide the viability, basically prove the viability of my assertion. For example, Facebook is building a massive underwater cable around Africa in an effort to bring more of the continent's 1.3 billion inhabitants online. The subsea cable will interconnect 23 countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Facebook states that it will provide nearly 3 times the total network capacity of all the undersea cables serving Africa today. So this cable will basically provide more than 3 times capacity than the combined all of the infrastructure that is already available. So this is a huge project and it provides quite a lot of opportunities. So Google is also working on an underwater cable called Equiano, which will connect Africa with Europe. Google has another unit named Loon, which is basically a high altitude platform system, which is a balloon which will deliver 4G internet to rural communities. It recently announced an expansion of the scheme to Mozambique. Africa is in a huge drive to build digital infrastructure, and the way in which I understand that ecosystem is as follows. 1, you have to have a variety of different types of technologies. These are fiber in the ocean, on land, fiber connecting you at home. Number 2, you have to have data centers. This is where all our data sits. Number 3, you have the spectrum which we use to connect wirelessly. And number 4, you have to have what is called the high altitude platform systems, or satellites, if I may, that connect to most rural and remote areas. And then, of course, you have big data, artificial intelligence. All these interesting technologies sit on top of the internet. The integral part of this discourse, which we have termed the fourth industrial revolution, is reliable internet connectivity infrastructure. And Africa is well on its way to deploy it, which provides a huge opportunity for technologies, which I've heard previously from a previous speaker, so that the internet of things, can flourish. Because at the current moment, there's a huge opportunity, but the infrastructure, as much as it's growing, it's not sufficient for high growth. So just to touch on a bit on IoT in Africa and some of the success factors of IoT deployment. In the African continent. There are several factors that hints to the fact that massive IoT deployment in Africa will amount to success. Most of them refer to cost of devices and introduction of new technology that will handle the communication and information processing aspects of the Internet of Things. Number 1, cheaper cost of sensors and bandwidth. The sensor prices have dropped to an average 60 cents from about 1 Rand to make it an international 1 Rand $30 in the past 10 years. The cost of bandwidth has also declined quite steeply, but by a factor of nearly 40 times over the past 10 years. Number 2, the cheap processing. The cost of processing has seen a sharp decrease of nearly 60 times since the past 10 years, thereby allowing more devices to smartly handle all of the new data which is being generated daily. Number 3, the introduction of big data analytics. With the introduction of big data analytics, the millions of data which is turned out daily by the various connected devices in the IoT network can be processed much faster and much better than before. Number 4, the widespread use of smartphones. Smartphones have become a remote control or interface for most applications, ranging from healthcare to automobile. Also, the number of smartphone users has increased in the past years. According to a report, the smartphone penetration rate in the Middle East and Africa will have an increase of about 26% and 30% within the next 10 years. And also the affordability of smartphones has also aided in the spread, of the Internet of Things across Africa. Number 5, the ubiquitous wireless network. Wireless networks such as Wi-Fi have also become cheaper and more accessible, also aiding to the success factors of IoT in Africa. Number 6, the alternative energy and ultra-low technologies and the availability of power to most devices that require automation has been a challenge in Africa. But new technologies for energy harvesting, ultra-low power devices have been a key enabler for the Internet of Things. Some devices today can power themselves as they tap energy from the immediate environment. For example, your wind, your solar, and so on and so forth. Some of the challenges that the African continent is facing with regard to the Internet of Things. Number 1 is the power supply. Number 2, the poverty rate. And number 3, the network capacity constraints. To talk about the power supply, due to the fact that things move around, right, and are not connected to a power supply, their smartness needs to be powered from a self-sufficient energy source, that is one of the solutions that alternative power sources are currently providing. And also to touch on the high poverty rate, IoT uses technology to connect physical objects to the internet, which we all know as in this audience. For IoT adoption to grow in Africa, the cost of components that are needed to support capabilities such as sensing, tracking, and control mechanisms need to be relatively inexpensive in the coming years. So we call upon all the manufacturers to decrease some of that equipment to make it accessible to the African continent if there's some people that are available that are part of the audience. Also, the network capacity constraints. With convergence brought about by connected machines and smart mobile devices, there is an increasing demand for network infrastructure to support these data-hungry devices with a certain level of expected quality of service. Also, number 4, the interoperability and standards across the African continent and also internationally. Different industries today use different standards to support their applications. With numerous sources of data and heterogeneous devices, the use of standard interfaces between these devices, these diverse, entities becomes quite important. If manufacturers are to realize the promise and potential of the Internet of Things, it is critical that the billions of things that make up the Internet of Things are able to connect and interoperate. Only through common frameworks based on truly open industry standards can secure reliable interconnections and shared information in IoT can be achieved. We could start this as the BRICS counterpart countries, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, by having our own standards. And I think if we could achieve that and have our own standards, we could be in our way to the right direction. So just to touch on some opportunities that we are currently seeing in the market, especially in South Africa. We can talk about IoT smart farming. In IoT, what we're practically doing is we've developed a system that is built for monitoring the crop field with the help of sensors, which is basically your light, humidity, temperature, soil moisture, and automating the irrigation system. The farmers can basically monitor the field conditions from anywhere. This is highly efficient compared to the traditional ways, which has been taking quite a lot of time and taking quite a lot of energy. So now you are able to have higher output and higher output and less input. Also, what opportunities we see is the livestock tracking, because what we've realized, there's been an escalating number of stock theft in the African continent. And livestock tracking through the use of RFID tags, we've developed IP for this and we've applied for provisional patent. I'd love to explain further, but because of the legalities behind it, I can't divulge much further. One of the things I mentioned earlier on was the smart home in rural and township areas. We will be deploying motion sensors and partnering with local on-response and security companies so that if ever you put a sensor in every single corner of your household and you tell or you communicate that with your cloud-based platform, if ever there's a movement and you are not in the household, it automatically sends you an SMS and also sends an SMS to your on-response so that they can respond immediately. Also, some of the opportunities would be asset location and recovery, to basically track and manage, to report in the in your entire base using some, because one of the networks that are readily available for such devices is the LoRaWAN network and the LoRaWAN wireless GPS units and the cloud platform. The units are basically battery powered and can provide uninterrupted connectivity for up to 3 to 5 years. So data from these devices is fed directly into the asset location and recovery platform, giving you about total visibility of your remote assets 24/7 every single day of the week. So we have a vision as EC Internet to connect 100,000 households, devices, SMMEs, and individuals in townships and rural communities by 2025. If you are in this audience and you would like to take this journey with us, we are open for collaboration and equity investments. Of course, my email is on the screen. I would like to end off my presentation by quoting the late father of the nation, Mr. Nelson Mandela, by saying, "It always seems impossible until it is done." Thank you very much. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Mr. Luo, for that. So yes, like one of our keynote speaker, he said, regardless of where you stay, rural, urban, suburbs, or regardless of the size of your company, digitalization is a necessity and no one can be left behind. So it is great what you're doing to the people there in South Africa. And you already have a couple of people who are interested in collaborating with you. So hopefully we can take this further, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So with that, I would like to invite our next innovative startup storyteller, Mr. Oren Rustov. Oren is a South African internet and technology entrepreneur, industrialist, media proprietor, and investor. He is best known as the founder, CEO, and president of a multinational technology company, Shelfline South Africa, Real Gardening, and School in a Box, respectively. He is voted Africa's top 10 entrepreneurs and LEAP FNSSA top 25 most innovative agricultural entrepreneurs. Mr. Rustov has been the South Africa's largest sponsor since 2016 and was named the top South Africa's top business minds in 2019. Over to you, Mr. Oren.
Thanks everyone for giving me the opportunity, for obviously sharing our success story. I'm just going to need some assistance with getting onto the screen. It says only one person can share at a given time.
Okay, nobody is sharing the screen currently, so you should be able to do that.
At this point, it's merely saying again.
Okay.
Let me try again. It's saying only one person can share at a time.
Okay. Could you refresh your browser? Probably that will help. Okay. I think we've lost him. So meanwhile, we'll go to our next innovative startup storyteller, and he's our very own Mr. Roshan Khan, and he's here to share his innovative startup story with us. Mr. Roshan is a technology expert, having dedicated his entire career to studying technological trends and innovations. And after 22 successful years in corporate, he is now the founder and CEO of a technology startup called HINS, shortly for Highly Innovative Technology Solutions. And his first product, Stethoscope AI, has got early success in being adopted by one of the largest retail companies, Titan, for tracking and monitoring the health status of their employees at thousands of their locations across India. So great to have you with us today, Mr. Roshan, and over to you.
This is a very, I guess everybody knows who these two gentlemen are. This is my very favorite image, and they're, of course, my role models. I'm not going to tell their biographies now. Everybody knows who they are and why they are known for. So stethoscope.ai is the product I would like to talk about today. The target or the focus for this product is to shape the future of corporate health and wellness. Before I start and tell more details, I want to really thank the Global Technology Summit team, CIMSME, the whole team, and my colleagues. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, Santosh sir, and everybody else. Thank you for the great show. A little bit about me. My name is Roshan Khan. I've done my BE Computers, finished my MBA. Currently, I'm doing my Masters in Business Law from the best national law school college in India. I've been working in corporate for 22 years in companies like LG, Nokia, Telco, Amadeus, and currently Hence. I've worked on, of course, 22 years in multiple domains, uh, mostly on the chatbot, IP, AR, VR. Basically, I'm a innovation and technology evangelist, and a lot of certification, of course, and membership of many prestigious organizations like IEEE, fellow of IEI, and of course BNI and CMSME. I'm proud of. So what are the top three challenges for enterprises today? Nothing new. The first thing is, of course, for every organization, it is the productivity is the part. The first one is sickness absenteeism. Every organization, millions of days are lost over a year for big organizations, and most of the loss or the productivity is because of sickness absenteeism. 40% of that is because of minor illnesses. Now, about next is about the healthcare costs. The organizations, when they are investing in the people, when they say people first and everything else, they also take care of their health, right? So every decade these costs have been increasing 20-25%, but now because of the current pandemic, in just 6 months this whole insurance cost has increased from 10-25% in just 6 months, which used to be normally occurring in only over a decade. And then of course we have we know about COVID-19, but we also remember the other pandemics before. It is not going to take another 1 century to get another pandemic. By the speed of the way it is going, it looks like the pandemics are here to stay, and we all should be prepared to live in the new normal and respond to whatever is going to happen effectively and cause less disruption like the way it has caused in the last few months. And that is why we have worked on our product, and the solution is our product help get into that motion, which is stethoscope.ai. How does it work? Is of course basically test, isolate, and trace. That's the buzzword, or that's the way things have been going. Our solution is technology enabled. It's of course is futuristic. Best thing is first, it refines the process, makes things easier to collect the data, triage the employees, and of course support the management. This way, it builds the trust and confidence in the employee and vendor and customer to come back to office and come back to workplace. We also provide guidance, appropriate care navigation at the end of the risk assessment, what we do, right? And then of course ultimate objective is to improve the productivity. We help in reduce the sickness absenteeism, we enable better decision making, and then of course save the healthcare cost. Having said that, uh, it is a digital solution. We take care of the data privacy and security, ultimately improving the workers safety in the workplace. Little bit on little more details on how it works. For the employee, this is a sample screen of how it might look on mobile for an employee. So at the end of the assessment, when we do triage, which determines the priority of the treatments to be taken by the employee based on the conditions and symptoms. It is very safe and reliable because we have developed a statistic based AI model, which is based on the official information from WHO and CDC, European CDC, where they publish the fees on daily basis. So we take it only bi-weekly or weekly and improve our AI model for better risk assessment. Of course, at the end of assessment, we also provide recommendation on what should be done, what is the advice based on the condition of the employee, and it is again based on the WHO and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare guidelines. And of course, it is not only global but localized information also is available, like global local health authorities and everything else. No, most important part is for the management. So management, this is like a dashboard, it's a real time and live dashboard where we provide a lot of indicators of health for management to know the condition in the campus. Then, of course, it's about reporting. We have detailed reports, trends, analytics, and we can see historical information based on the time, based on the location, based on the organization, based on level of the organization. There are so many configurations parameters possible. Of course, it is. We always are trying to improve the platform, and we have thousands of people taking our assessments on a daily basis. And then, of course, it is helping to control or monitor the staff movement across multiple locations and inside the campus of the organization. So how are we using AI ML? A little bit on the technology side. We are currently using AI to check the symptoms and then guide the employees for appropriate care and navigation. We identify and triage accurately, specify what has to be done, whether it has to be self-isolated or consult a doctor, and what action has to be taken. And similarly, this way we can reduce the insurance health cost both for the employee and for the employer. In the near future, we are applying more machine learning to find more dependencies and patterns so that we can get more accurate over time. We can help the organization and employees and citizens better. And this same machine learning is going to use for warning and predicting the possible illness based on the symptoms, and of course recommend preventive care programs. Yes, we are embracing other technologies also. We have also filed a patent based on which we are developing some of the technologies. Blockchain is one of them for enhancing more security and privacy. We are using, of course, AWS for now. Then, of course, there's analytics and AI ML, as I talked about. Yes, we also take care of the user interface, so it's more responsive. Though this is similar, just to show how responsive it is, whether it is on a phone or a tablet or a desktop. Now let's see who are the people who are happy with us or who are working smarter with stethoscope.ai. There are two types of customers, and mainly, as you can see, currently are the corporates, the retail stores, the manufacturing companies, IT and facility management companies, who are people-centric organizations where they want people to come back and they're dependent on their skill and their availability. And then going ahead, as and when the education or entertainment institutions are going to start, even they would like to know the movement and control the movement inside the campus. So this is how our target customers. And currently, these are our happy customers. Most of them are from Tata Group, and there are 2-3 hospitals also who are using it for remote patient monitoring in the current condition. Some figures: we have around 15,000 unique users across the world. Around 10,000 of them are active on a daily basis. Around 8 to 9,000 on 10,000 are active users, and of course, most of them are the corporate users. Well, some testimonials. Not going to get into more details. Yes, so like the way initially I said, there are two role models. So creativity is contagious, pass it on, right? So that is my message at the end of what as a product we have developed, and that's my coordinates. Hints, HINNTS, that's my logo, my company logo. As Mishma said, it's short form for highly innovative technology solutions. And my coordinates, email ID, and company name. That's it. I'm open for any questions. I was told very, very late, so I just rushed through. So if you have any questions, please let me know and I can provide you more details.
Thank you, Mr. Roshan. I think someone's asking for your presentation, so maybe you can connect with him on chat. But I
Sure.
think your product is a perfect example of necessity is the mother of inventions. So that is a great product you came up with during this pandemic, and wishing you all the best and success in your product, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think we have Mr. Oren back with us. So over to you, Oren. You're on mute.
Thanks everyone for giving me the opportunity. I apologize about the technical challenges that I had. We've actually got quite a big thunderstorm in Johannesburg. We are very well known when it comes to the big thunderstorm space. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to share our story of success. Just let me know if you can see the screen.
Sure. Yes, we can see the screen now.
Fantastic. So ultimately, I think where it all started, I've had a substantial amount of experience working for the big global conglomerates, the likes of Coca-Cola South Africa, Mondelez, SAB, which is now owned by AB InBev. And I had extensive experience in building last mile distribution solutions within the township, rural, and village landscape. And I went on my own 6 years ago when I read Jeff Bezos's his book, and I do recommend that everyone on the line read this phenomenal book. We really focused our business around the commercial value of communities, a wealth of commercial insights. And I mean, when Jeff Bezos launched Amazon, he launched it around a e-book selling solution with the mindset of becoming the everything store. So we really modeled our business on data centricity and customer centricity. Our mission is to connect young people with opportunities to transform their lives in underserviced markets. Today, I'll give you a bit of insight into some of the data that we do have within the South African and African context around what is essentially happening from a trader perspective and from a retailer perspective and a shopper perspective. You know, essentially, I form part of a panel with Microsoft around jobs of the future. I was recently awarded funding with Microsoft for startups because of showcasing digital expertise within digitizing informal economies. We've obviously won some great awards over the last couple of years. And then what are our plans for 2021? When looking at the township landscape in South Africa, as you can see that 74.7 billion Rand of South African food revenue per month, only 9.2% of that is contributed by the township economy. Now that shows substantial amount of opportunities. 61% of stores in South Africa from a spaza and informal market perspective are registered with our South African Revenue Service. I just also wanted to showcase another opportunity around the cosmetic sort of landscape and the revenue models per month. The number of stores that we plan to service today, I service 105,000 stores, delivering last mile distribution. I have a bigger distribution network now than what Coca-Cola has, and I will share the success story and the models around logistics that we've built in South Africa. The jobs of tomorrow. So Microsoft in January, funnily enough, identified 149 million jobs would be created by the year 2025. That was before COVID hit. And now they say that it's been accelerated to the next 3 years. So by the year 2023, 149 million jobs will be lost. And I think the biggest challenge we face today is that we are looking at existing infrastructures to build our job components within the job market. So they say that 49 million jobs will be lost globally due to this pandemic. When building a digitization sort of foundation, what we really focused on was around the digital infrastructure, the digital platform, so that's access and public services. It was around digital financial services, so the ability to pay, save, borrow, and invest. It was around the digital entrepreneur, so how do you service the ecosystem when there's over 300,000 stores? Now that excludes the population of 40 million consumers that reside in the South African landscape. And then it was around digital skills. So what is this, a really scary statistic in South Africa, is over 56% of the youth in South Africa do not know what fourth industrial revolution is. 86% of the youth in South Africa do not get the right digital skills and the right skills in the job space from formal schooling. So now we dive into and I would like to share our new Above the Line campaign that will be launched with Microsoft and in partnership with ABSA in February around digital jobs going live in the South African township, rural and village landscape. Please enjoy.
I walk this road every day. Some mornings it's paved. Some mornings it's quiet. I dream of the road where I know where I'm headed. I found it. I learned. I worked. I became an entrepreneur. You can walk this road too. Your road might not be the straight line you imagined, but it could be a shelf line. Apply to learn and end today.
So just to give you context, we've built a entrepreneurial application where anyone that is unemployed has the ability to download our application. What we will essentially do is do a psychometric evaluation of each student into the platform, and we will provide the necessary 4-hour skills via our digital device. We also blend it with curated learning, where we have a thing in South Africa called new venture creation, where we utilize a classroom-based learning model plus coaches and mentors that assist the unemployed in becoming successful. Today, I'm an $80 million business in 6 years. I've got 24 local partners. I'm currently in South Africa. I currently have 17,000 entrepreneurs servicing the township, rural, and village economy across health, agriculture, and last mile distribution from a liquor and food perspective. And directly, we are servicing 105,000 informal market stores. And this is how simple our process is. You sign up for an incubator, so we develop your skills and improve your knowledge. We establish a route to market where we will link the unemployed to clients within the township landscape, rural and village. We provide the necessary capacitation in a job. We provide the necessary training from a theory perspective. And we use a thing called continuous professional development tracking, where we track every single one of our entrepreneurs through our platform to ensure that they will become sustainable. It's around creating income streams, and it's around connecting clients and products, and it's around economic emancipation. So building income, capacitating families, invest in more education, and building communities. Our learning path is around skills development. So it starts with changing attitudes. It looks at 4-hour skill sets. It provides the necessary logic around problem solving, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking. We then have an e-learning platform that's developed as a curated online learning strategy. It's access to any platform that's accredited. So when you're as an entrepreneur, after a 12-month period, you get recognized with a diploma qualification in one of the public services industry that you work in. You use a set of e-tools to deliver. And like I mentioned, our continuous professional development plan really provides us with the professional body framework and the CPD perpetual, creating a long-term framework for our entrepreneurs. Our success is we fast-track digital services to enhance access to communities, to business services, open information data. I'll share some of the statistics shortly. Online systems for registration, online payment systems and cash collection. We currently collect over 1.2 billion Rand in cash, and we deliver it to central drops in each township. We currently have 55 townships that we deliver last mile distribution to. We also have a sustainable landscape and township blockchain. And then you probably ask around the innovative funding methods. We've got things in South Africa called BBBEE, which is tax benefits. It's income generating initiatives. It's blockchain, cryptocurrencies, which I'll share. And our impact areas are around education and learning, environment sharing, employment and job creation, sustainability, health and wellness, and international. So ultimately, what we've done successfully is cut out 5 layers of the food chain by delivering products cheaper to the spaza stores than big retailers. We've partnered with Google around putting the stores with the red dot. We offer every single SMME that is not registered with our local South African Revenue Service. We provide you with a free website in order to be compliant. This is just sharing our learning model, so intro into selling, how to sell, why to sell, etc. This is how simple our ordering platforms are that we've developed for AB InBev with its SAB. This is our taxi pay solution.
Yes, and I'm the general manager for IBP Western Cape. My journey with IBP started 3 years ago when the business was still in the beginning stages of operation. Lucky Star was the first brand to experience success through insights, efforts and expertise of IBP. Through much needed investment in this market, the first time since 1978. The market share grew by 23% in coloured townships, a community that was familiar with competitor brands such as Saldanha and Glenwick. This was achieved through light boxes, point-of-sale kits and wall murals with relevant calls to action which speak directly to shoppers in their preferred languages. Our basket has expanded significantly and now also include the likes of Pioneer Foods, Aspen, Lion Match, RCL Foods, Twin Saver, Record Benkaiser, Colgate, Pick and SC Johnson. Another success story worth mentioning is that of Pioneer Foods. Their cereal brand Bacomo doubled its distribution in under a year, with market share increasing to over 60%. Dessert and Wellington were included in the basket offering 6 months ago and already have penetrated to 1,400 stores with over 60% market share. Value-added shopper services offered by IBP are tailored to each brand and include market intelligence, weekly brag board reporting, monthly performance reviews, point-of-sale kits, wall murals, shopper sampling, and township activation, to name a few. These below-the-line investments have assisted each brand in growth. Distribution, ability, this.
Mr. You can please.
Back to the
Yes,
screen.
yes.
Just get 1 year. Africa's biggest brands. We did to 2, and it's for the first time that from order being placed to order being delivered. And as you can see, this is just giving you the route monitoring, how we measured how the products got to store, etc. Right? And now we jump into our agricultural solution. I'm just going to share a quick video explaining it.
Planting Revolution is Real Gardening's mobile application. It's your garden guru in your pocket. It's going to teach you everything you need to know about vegetable gardening through a series of short animated videos. It's also going to populate a calendar for you. They're going to send you push notifications every day, reminding you to do things like watering your garden and trellising your beans.
Since we have this partnership with Real Gardening, things are much easier. They came and trained us to train others.
Mr. Oren, you're on mute again.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if it's echoing.
It's fine now.
Let me just.
And Mr. Oren, please, can I request you to also conclude? Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
great. So in closing, this is just our access to affordable schooling, where we have 200,000 children in rural villages having access to obviously affordable academic support. This is just a video, and our plans for 2021 is expanding into 3 African countries. And in closing, I actually just want to share the last, I don't want to, this is just a video that I would like to share. It's in closing. It's what we are doing for 3.5 million South Africans, where we will give them the opportunity to create a platform where they will have the ability to deliver a service to our township economy. The last video, it's 1 minute. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, if I can, in closing, we plan to provide 3.5 million jobs in South Africa. And we're already in Zimbabwe and Nigeria, where we've created 12,000 jobs for unemployed youth. And we really believe our digital solution is the answer for digital jobs and to solve unemployment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Oren. As you can see, you're getting a lot of likes and appreciation for the great work you've been doing. And also congratulations for all the various products you've been implementing there. And keep up the good work, and wishing you all the best. And hope you reach further milestones in the coming years. Thank you. So with that, we have a few more sessions to complete before we close. And please bear with us a couple of minutes more. And now I would like to invite another global ambassador who's a representative of GCP-IT and who's striving to be the change maker locally with the help of an international audience such as yourselves. So I would now like to invite Ms. Namrata Patel, the founder and secretary for Triumphal Arch Academy, to share her vision and mission as the ambassador for GCP-IT. Over to you, Ms. Namrata.
Thank you, Mishma. Good evening, everyone. I am Namrata Patel, Global Ambassador of GCP-IT, and I am delighted to be the part of Global Technology Summit 2020. The journey as an ambassador of CIMSME and GCP-IT is going to help me a lot, as it had given me a vision and mission beyond my imagination as an educational entrepreneur. GCP-IT and CIMSME is globally working to excel in the field of womenomics, she trades, women in technology, diversity and inclusion, brand women, etc. I am the ambassador for girl child education. Being an educationist, I will leave no stone unturned to uplift the standard of education for girl child. And I am already working for their education for last 10 years and concerned about the situation of the girl child due to these social obstacles which are still prevalent in the current situation. I am firm to work and confident to remove all the social hurdles and fight for their education, which is their birthright. This downtrodden class of children should also get the opportunity to live and prosper in their life with the enlightened minds. And only the proper education is the right key to open the doors of equality for them. I have committed to create, develop, and integrate communities to foster sustainable economic development, empowerment, and independence for the vulnerable women and girls in the rural areas, and being sustainable changes in their life through education. We should never forget that education and technology both are equally important for changing the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Namrata. That was our global ambassador. And thank you so much, and wishing you all the best in your endeavors and in accomplishing your mission. So with that, we're going to take a short break, but we're going to come back with our founder, director, and chief visionary officer, Mr. Santosh, for a powerful take-home message. So please stay with us. We'll just take a short break. And thanks to all the innovative storytellers for sharing your innovative stories, and wishing you all the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mishma, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Pleasure's all ours, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.